Hello, and welcome back to Esports. I'm your host, Travis Gafford. Shout out to Tim Rogers, whose video intro I just shamelessly stole. He was a guy that I watched a ton of content of over at Kotaku, and he just struck out on his own to be his own media personality, just like I did when I left Yahoo. And he makes great stuff. You should go follow him. I'll put a link to him in the video description. 108 on Twitter. But a big fan of his work. He deserves it. Either way, welcome to the 2020 channel update video. I know that I'm doing this halfway through February. I meant to do it last month, but then some things slipped. So here we are talking about the future of this channel as we head into this year. So first off, I wanted to apologize for something. Back in 2018, when I made the decision to go full-time independent after getting laid off in 2017 from Yahoo, I really try to make an emphasis on connecting with all of you for this channel because I kind of felt as though it was a bit of a joint venture. You guys seem to really like the idea of me being independent. You really showed that in ways like supporting me on Twitch and on Patreon and all these different things. And I really tried to return that by being incredibly transparent about a lot of stuff that I was doing and just even kind of bringing you behind the scenes into what it was like sort of building this. In 2019, I think we did some of that, but we didn't do as much of it, right? Like in 2018, we did the video of how I make money, which I think a lot of people received very well and kind of showed how that worked. We brought you behind the scenes of the LCS and showed you what it was like doing my day-to-day. And I even did vlogs about my personal life to kind of help you guys understand who I am and why it is that I decided to do what I do. Anyway, again, 2019, we failed to do as much of that as I would have liked to, and I felt a little disconnected from you guys. And part of that was because at the halfway point of last year, I stopped trying to grind as hard because I just turned 30 and I wanted to take some time apart from investing everything into the work to really focus on myself. Some of you guys might notice that I lost weight. I was doing a lot of hiking, going out, trying to connect with friends, trying to do a good job of reconnecting with family members and just taking care of some personal stuff. And that really brought me away from the channel in a way that I did not anticipate when I made that decision. Obviously, I'm going to keep doing that stuff, but I think I'm in a pretty good place now. I'm ready to take on the next decade of my life. Let's talk about money, because you guys love this topic. I think, again, the video that I did talking about how I make money was something that was really successful here. You guys are always very fascinated about it. So first off, I want to thank all of you guys so much because you have supported me. Alienware signed on last year. You might remember at the beginning of last year, I actually shut down the Patreon because I just didn't need that support from people. I felt like it was unfair for me to take money that I didn't really need to create the content anymore because Alienware was so successful in supporting me that way. And I just want to thank you guys again for that. On the topic of Alienware, there's actually some people that have been messaging me asking me, I've seen it in the Hotline League chat, like, did Travis get renewed for 2020? I think they're comfortable with me talking about this, which is the nature of my contract with them runs around their fiscal year. So it runs from February to February. That's how their business operates. And so we've been talking about what this looks like for the next year. In fact, last December, you guys might remember that I went to Austin for a little bit and met with their folks in their offices. I should have updates for you guys soon. I think it's gone pretty well. So I would say don't worry on that yet, but you know, we'll see how things go. When I did talk to Alienware, they were incredibly impressed by the amount of people that clicked through the link. But when you guys actually tweet at them and let them know about this stuff, or you go through the links that I put in this stuff, it actually lets them see how much people care about my content and want to support it. And anyway, I just owe you guys a huge thank you, because this is the type of stuff that helps me, not just with Alienware, but with Movement and other sponsors that come in. That allows me to create the content that you guys like. So it's this kind of great self-fulfilling system or whatever. Now, let's talk about content for this year. LCS moved to 3 days a week, which I've actually quite liked. It actually did increase my costs, right? Because theoretically I have to spend another day at the LCS, which prevents me from doing some of the other stuff. And maybe I have to pay people to be there with me, that type of stuff. So the cost did go up, but I have enjoyed it a lot because I like Monday Night League, and it's been quite good for our Hotline League live viewership because people come over. So I think that's quite nice. But there is a world where I might not be doing all 3 days all the time if I need to take a day off. In fact, Ovally is not doing all 3 days at the LCS anymore. I think it's really stupid for Riot to not have her work all 3 days. I don't know why, but their folly is my fortune, because it means that you might see her pop up on the channel. I know she did a little bit of a hangout with me on the channel a couple weeks ago. I actually did take a day off, and So you might have seen a week that had a little bit less content than normal. It's kind of an interesting thing, but I want to explain why. Back in 2018, actually, as I was doing more of these personal vlogs, you might remember I did one where I went back home to San Diego, and my grandfather, who has Alzheimer's, was in the video and kind of made a cameo. I talked a little bit about that, and he actually passed away on New Year's Eve of last year, of 2019, right? So there was a memorial service for him in January. Now, I know a lot of you guys are super nice. You want to rush to the comments and say something supportive and sweet, and that is actually so cool. But I will say that because they were able to catch it way early as the first signs started to pop up, you know, I came to terms with this for a long time ago, and you know, as sad as I was, I'm actually doing fine. Okay. But I wanted to bring this up because gaming has provided me with this platform of this channel, and my grandfather actually did an interview himself. He was interviewed way back whenever he first started to get the diagnosis, and I'm going to link to it at the end of the video so you guys can go watch it. It'd mean a lot to me if you did. It's only 6 minutes, and I think it's quite good. And it just talks a lot about the early screening, because when he found out about his diagnosis, devoted the remaining years of his life to basically raising awareness, talking about it, etc. I know a lot of you might think you already know about Alzheimer's, but I think, you know, some of the stuff he talks about in the interview is quite fascinating and worth a watch. So either way, thank you if you guys decide to watch that. I really appreciate that. Anyway, back to the other types of content. Broden and I in 2020 have a lot of cool projects that we're spinning up. I probably shouldn't talk too much about them, but I'm going to anyway. One of them, we're exploring the idea of doing like a esports news or League of Legends news show for the channel. We're talking to Avalie if she wants to help us out on that type of thing, because it might not be something where I am always the host. But stay tuned for that pilot. We'll probably create a pilot and see if there's any sponsor interest, because creating something like that weekly, which would be the plan, is quite expensive. So we'll see how it hits. We're also looking at the series that Mark and Broden and I wrote. You guys might remember we did something where we kind of experimented with the idea of creating like a narrative show. That's on Broden. He's like the project lead for that, and he's been quite busy doing some other stuff for music videos and whatever. He's slowly turning into a rock star. Hotline League Live is one of my favorite things that we've been able to do in the past couple of years. Mark and I both love it. Basically, we bring live versions of Hotline League to audiences at spring finals. We did Rift Rivals last year with Alienware. We want to do more of that this year. So we are in active conversations already this early about trying to make sure that we can do this stuff for this year at different events. So stay tuned for more information on that. But again, looking to do bigger, cooler things over the course of 2020 and really try a lot of different interesting projects on top of the stuff that you guys already watch on this channel, like the interviews and Hotline League, etc. Okay, now we are at the very interesting part of this video for me, where I said at the start of it that I was going to try to be more personal and transparent with you guys about stuff, and so here we are talking about something that I would not normally talk about, which is my dating life. Okay, so I have to disclose something, because I think it's important for you guys to know this, which is that I am now in a relationship. And the woman that I am seeing is Nicole, who runs Evil Geniuses. I raise this because, you know, I don't label myself a journalist anymore, but I don't want people to call into Hotline League with like an Evil Geniuses take, for instance, that I share an opinion on it, and then 6 months later this comes out somehow, or people figure it out because she's in my Instagram story or something, and people feel weird about it, or as if I didn't disclose it. You know, you guys know I have friends at Golden Guardians, Hunter, and I used to work together at multiple jobs. Double Lift and I have been friends for as long as either of us have been in esports. So you know, whenever you are talking to me or I am talking about those teams or whatever, that even if I don't have like this overt bias, you know, I wouldn't say I'm like a Team Liquid fan or a Golden Guardians fan. And by the way, those are two people, you know, I've got friends on other teams that everybody kind of knows about. So it's not, it's just something that you guys understand colors the take of my stuff. And so when it comes to Evil Geniuses, I will be, if I do an interview with Nicole in the future, it'll probably be more fun and lighthearted. I don't know if we're going to do anything like that. We'll see how this all goes. Just a thing. If I need to talk about like roster decisions or, Evil Geniuses hasn't been doing well lately. If I needed to do an interview with somebody about the struggles they've been having, probably talk to a different person on staff. And then I guess, I don't know if they ever will get into some big drama thing or whatever, but depending on the nature of it, I could recuse myself and let somebody else cover the story or something. I take it very seriously, probably more seriously than, quite frankly, esports generally takes these types of things, but I am actually I want to make sure that I do things ethically and correctly, and so that is why I am disclosing this, even though I never talk about my dating life, and here I am talking about it to thousands of people. This is very embarrassing. I've been trying to figure out how I was going to do this. Anyway, so, I'm going to go off script here for a second and just ask that people in the community and the industry don't be jerks about this whole thing. I think actually the vast majority of people in the industry and my audience are quite nice and polite and supportive, but when you start dating somebody, you don't normally announce it to thousands of people. I would hate it if the things that I feel I need to do for my job cause any kind of stress for her. And obviously she's fully aware I'm making the video, but I just don't be jerks. It's hard to meet people, and when you meet people, you want to take a chance on it, even if it requires some weird thing like this. So just be nice. Also, please be respectful of her, because this is my thing I have to do. It's not hers. So just, if you guys have any issues with it, make it about me, please. She's really cool and doesn't deserve weirdness because of my ridiculous job where I talk into a video. Either way, I think that closes out this YouTube video as the start of 2020. Never thought I'd be ending a video like that, but cool things coming down the line. I'm gonna try to be more transparent with you guys, hopefully give you an update on the Alienware stuff as it comes in. Thank you guys so much for all the years of support that you've provided me, even before I went independent. And back in 2011, 2012, people were sending me to Korea to cover tournaments over there. So just an incredibly supportive community, and I appreciate you guys so much, and I can't wait to do really cool stuff for you in 2020. And we're gonna reconnect, you and I, because I've missed you, and I don't know if you've missed me, but we're gonna make this work.